My topic is the analysis and the forecasting on FDI, tourism, and the economic growth in Asian countries. In this representation, I will present 5 parts. First part is introduction. With the deepening of economic globalization, FDI plays a very important role in the flow of capital between countries, especially for developing countries such as Asian countries. You can see the figure. The red one shows that FDI flow into Asia increased from $108 billion in 2010 to $155 billion in 2018. The share of this inflow in the world total rose from 5.7% to 12.9% during that time. The total flows of FDI in the world decreased during that time, but the proportion of FDI into Asia increased. It's the reason for FDI of Asian countries regarded as the target of the study. Okay, FDI can bring two kinds of effects. FDI can directly affect economic growth. Besides, FDI can indirectly affect tourism. Because of tourism is a sector that is closely linked to the capital, infrastructure, technology, and access to global marketing and distributing chain. As this figure shows, in 2016, FDI influence into economic sectors closely related to tourism reached their highest value, with a total value of $2,024 million. Also, both capital influence have declined in 2017. There is a clear upward trend in 2018. This means that FDI influence related to tourism have increased, which can affect the development of tourism, whereby affect the economic growth. At the same time, Asian countries are important tourism destinations in Asia with rich tourism resource. As this figure shows, from 2004 to 2017, the total number of foreign tourists traveling to Asian countries rose from 46.8 million to 121.6 million. During this period, international tourism receipts also increased from $38 billion to $138 billion. And as the China-Asian Free Trade Zone Investment Agreement was signed, from the economic point of view, Asian countries will become important investment target areas, attracting more capital to inflow into these countries. It can increase capital investment to improve tourism infrastructure and affect the development of Asian countries. So it's the reason for the tourism of Asian countries regarded as the target of the study. So in this study, all of the Asian countries are ranked according to FDI influence and the international tourism arrives. High levels of FDI influence and the international tourism arrives are more significant and critical to study whether these variables affect economic growth. Therefore, policymakers can consider these variables as critical factors in affecting the economic growth, which choose the country with the highest FDI influence and international tourism arrives. These 6 countries include Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, and the Philippines. Next part is literature review. In this section, I divided the 3 variables into 3 parts. First part is FDI and the economic growth literature reviews. Second part is FDI and the tourism literature review. And the third is tourism and the economic growth literature reviews. From this section, I get the contribute to the existing literature review. First one is combine 3 variables, FDI, tourism, and GDP to study and compare their relationship in 6 Asian countries. Second is use Granger causality test and the impulse response function in time series 1 to study the newest data from the 1 quarter of 2005 to the 3rd quarter of 2019. Next part is data and methodology. In my research, all of my data is secondary data and collected over the period from the first quarter of 2005 to the third quarter of 2019, and more details shown in this table. In my research, I used the three kinds of methodologies to research it. First one is unit truth test. Before doing time series spot estimation, it is necessary to test whether the data is stationary or non-stationary by the unit truth test. Second is time series spot and the Gaussian causality test. It can predict whether two or more variables have a causal relationship with each other. Third is impulse response function. It can show whether changes in the value of a variable have a positive or negative effect on other variables in the bar model. Besides, it can show how long the effects of variables adjust themselves to the mean value. Next part is empirical results. Okay, there is a 6 countries Gaussian causality test result. I combine it in the left side table. From it, we can see the causality from GDP to ITA is found in 4 countries, except Singapore and Malaysia. The causality from FDI to ITA is obtained in 4 countries, except Thailand and Malaysia. The causality from ITA to GDP is got in 4 countries, except Vietnam and Malaysia. The causality from GDP to ITA is obtained only in Malaysia. The causality from FDI to GDP is found only in Singapore, and the causality from ITA to FDI is not found in the countries of our sample. Next is the impulse response function. It reveals these countries have positive and negative effects on the interaction of FDI, ITA, and GDP in different periods. And more details I show here. You can see the slide. First part is conclusion. In conclusion, FDI has a promoting effect on tourism in Singapore, Indonesia, Vietnam, and the Philippines. The development of tourism promotes economic growth in Thailand, Singapore, Indonesia, and the Philippines. The effect of FDI on economic growth in both promoting and inhibiting in Singapore. In our sample of countries, tourism has no correlation with FDI. Besides, economic growth can attract FDI influence in Malaysia. The government and the policymakers of these 6 Asian countries should develop suitable FDI policies and tourism policies to promote the economic of these Asian countries. That's all. Thanks for listening.